All right, guys, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing on this 2 a.m. on the 4th of July? Happy birthday to our nation, and truly, there's no more of an American thing to do on the 4th of July than to record Russian language videos. What can I tell you? I felt the inspiration to just keep going. I'm having so much fun doing these. I think this can only be uh, beaten by or rather, out. How should I put this? This can only be outdone in the fun department by the how much fun you will have going through these. I kind of envy you guys because you get to go through these videos um, and be challenged by them and improve as you go. But anyway, here we are. Here we are at 2 a.m. on 4th of July because why not? And in the last class, we went over the expression. This is our first expression of attitude, a little bit of a zinger. Because, up to this point, we've just been going through rather matter of fact statements without any kind of emotion. But now we get to show our attitude. And the expression here is что это за, and then the noun of choice, or in plural or singular, and then followed by the word такой. Now, the word такой has to agree in both gender to the noun and in plurality as well. So if the noun is masculine singular, it'll be такой. If the noun is of the middle gender, it'll be такое. If the noun is of feminine gender, it'll be такая. And then if the noun is plural, regardless of gender, it will be такие. And I don't have this displayed here, the last version of такой, такие, but it will be displayed later. So you can see how it's written. The key word here is za, that third word there, two-letter word. It's really what makes this expression. Without it, it's it's just not spoken like that. It will still have somewhat an effect, but I like to teach you full expressions, and because you can always shorten them later, uh, and you can't really do it without this expression. You can potentially take out the word такой. You can potentially take out the word это. So, for example, if we're talking about a restaurant, which in Russian is ресторан, I could say in kind of a disappointment, что за ресторан? Что за ресторан? So notice I did not have there the word это and the word такой, but that's but I like to teach you the full version, and then because we can always shorten things, we as we get the better sense of the language, we can decide when to shorten things and what kind of effect it will have, what kind of subtle change that will mean. But at this stage, let's just learn things to their fullest extent, because it's easier to shorten things once we learn them the long way than to lengthen things if we already get used to saying them the short way. So all of these examples will have the full expression. All right. It's the introduction. And just to go over these, the word что is what. The word это is usually can be translated as it or this. The word za normally is translated as for. For as in the place of. In this case, however, man, I'd have to think about what it's translated as. Honestly, I don't even. It's going to be something wonky that's not going to immediately translate directly into English. So I'm not even going to try to think about what it means in this context. Just remember to put it there. And then такой is a word for kind of. And it's also the word that's used to emphasize things, just like the word так, if you remember from a previous video. All right, enough talk. Moving on. So, as with the previous video, as we go through these, we'll be learning new words or new cases for words. And so we will need the dative case for the word mama, which means mom. And it's going to be mame, also meaning to mom, like something is being given to mom. Mame. And as a reminder, again, when we help in Russian, we help to someone. Son does not want to help mother. What kind of son is this? Сын не хочет помогать маме. Что это за сын такой? Сын не хочет помогать маме. Что это за сын такой? At normal speed and with attitude, this will sound like this. Сын не хочет помогать маме. Что это за сын такой? For the next one, we already know the word for wine, which is vino. And when we say that wine exists or there is wine, we say есть вино. But when there is no wine, if you probably remember when we were going through у меня есть, у меня нет, the word that is followed by нет is changed to the genitive case. In this case, it would be вина. Нет вина. The word for beer, if you remember from class, is пиво. Пиво. And the word for but is no. We have not seen this yet, I don't think. No. They have beer, but they don't have wine. What kind of restaurant is this? У них есть пиво, но нет вина. Что это за ресторан такой? У них есть пиво, но нет вина. Что это за ресторан такой? Now, if you translated this as in the longer version, у них есть пиво, но у них нет вина. Now, this у них is missing here. That's fine too. It's just that in Russian, this is the most natural way to say it because saying у них twice sounds redundant. We already know that нет вина is pertaining to у них as well. So there's no need to say у них нет вина the second time. Once again, у них есть пиво, но нет вина. Что это за ресторан такой? At natural speed, this will sound like this. У них есть пиво, но нет вина. Что это за ресторан такой? All right. Um, so when applying to nouns, the word такой has to agree to gender. So in case of the word рыба, which means fish, рыба, of feminine gender, it will be такая. Такая. Мясо, which is of middle gender, which means meat, мясо, will be такое. Такое. The word for even, when we want to emphasize something, not as an even number or even as an equal, but even when we use it for emphasis, as you probably remember from the last video, is даже. Даже. The word for cat is usually кошка. Кошка. The only thing I want to say here is this is also the word specifically for female cat. Now, by default, people usually say кошка when they don't know the gender, the sex rather, of the animal, of the cat. They will use the female cat to describe the cat. But the word for male cat is кот. So people could also say кот. It's really, there's really no rule. It's a personal preference. When you don't know the sex of the cat, you just see it far away. You can either say кот or кошка. The word for dog is собака. Собака. And that's a word for female dog. And I'm not trying to be cute here, like people often say female dog when they imply bitch. This is a nice way to say female dog, собака. The word for bitch in Russian, which also translates as female dog, is suka, which is a which is a bad word. But we're not going to work with that right now. And what else would I want to say about this? So the word собака is a lot more common to describe a dog whose sex you don't know. You're a lot more likely to assign the female sex to that dog than you are with a cat. With a cat, it's кот or кошка. But with the dog that you don't know, it's almost always собака. It's never going to be the male dog unless you know for sure that it's a male dog. And the word for the male dog is пес. Пес. But that's not in this example, so we don't worry about it. And at this level, I wouldn't even worry about these rules for animal naming. Just know that кошка is cat and собака is dog, and that's really good enough. Now, the possessive pronoun my, when applied to female gender, is моя. Моя. And finally, accusative case for this fish is эту рыбу. Эту рыбу. All right, I told you guys this is going to be challenging. There's a lot of new words, and now you're going to get to use them all in these following examples. On top of this stuff, you already have to be practicing. What do you think? Is too much too soon? I mean, maybe it is, but it's better to push our limits than to play it safe and not take advantage of learning more. So you can't say you are not getting your money's worth. How about that? Even my cat doesn't want to eat this fish. What kind of fish is this? Даже моя кошка не хочет есть эту рыбу. Что это за рыба такая? Даже моя кошка не хочет есть эту рыбу. Что это за рыба такая? At full speed it will sound like this. Даже моя кошка не хочет есть эту рыбу. Что это за рыба такая? Even my dog can't eat this meat. What kind of meat is this? Даже моя собака не может есть это мясо. Что это за мясо такое? Notice the ending on the word такое. It has to agree with the middle gender of the word мясо. Даже моя собака не может есть это мясо. Что это за мясо такое? Что это за мясо такое? All right, more stuff, more words to learn. So the word for male friend is друг. Друг. The word for female friend is подруга. Подруга. And the word for a mixed group of friends is друзья. Друзья. To call by phone is звонить. Звонить. I did not include this verb on the list of our verbs when we were practicing. I forgot about it. But I just want to point out that it's in the imperfect form. And when we call someone, we call to someone. So we're also going to apply the dative case to whom we're calling. In this case, it's going to be to me. The dative case for I, which is to me, which is мне. Мне. And finally, the word for kind of is такой, but when it's plural, when we're describing, kind of cars or I guess these kinds of cars would be in English, the ending changes to такие. So такой becomes такие. Такие. All right. We'll be using this information for the next 3 examples. He doesn't even want to call me. What kind of friend is this? Он даже не хочет звонить мне. Что это за друг такой? Он даже не хочет звонить мне. Что это за друг такой? And it does matter where we put the word даже. Даже emphasizes what the words that come after the immediately after the word даже. So I felt like this would be the most natural translation um, of the of what I gave there. At full speed, it will sound like this. Он даже не хочет звонить мне. Что это за друг такой? She doesn't even want to call me. What kind of friend is this? Она даже не хочет звонить мне. Что это за подруга такая? Did you remember to agree the word такой to the female ending of подруга? It becomes такая. Она даже не хочет звонить мне. Что это за подруга такая? Now, if we put the word даже between хочет and звонить, it will not much change the emphasis. Она не хочет даже звонить мне. So here we're emphasizing that she doesn't, let's see, how would I put this in English? She doesn't want to even call me. Yeah. So we're emphasizing doesn't want before, and we're emphasizing call. I guess it does change things a little bit. But it certainly will change things a lot if we put the word даже between звонить and мне. Because we're implying that, she should be, what are we implying? That it's like we're saying in English, she doesn't want to call even me. So we're emphasizing that we are like her first priority and she doesn't even want to call us, which is not quite, I think, what we want to say here when we are, because that would imply that she just doesn't want to call anybody. So that doesn't necessarily make her a bad friend. It just means she's kind of antisocial. So where we place даже, I know I normally say in simple sentences word placement doesn't matter, but in this case it does. Where we place даже does change the emphasis of the sentence. All right, one more time. Она даже не хочет звонить мне. Что это за подруга такая? At full speed. Она даже не хочет звонить мне. Что это за подруга такая? And finally, they don't even want to call me. What kind of friends are these? Они даже не хотят звонить мне. Что это за друзья такие? We're changing the ending to agree with the plurality. Они даже не хотят звонить мне. Что это за друзья такие? I thought about this a little more, and the word даже does change things. Even if we put it between хотят and звонить, it would imply that they don't even that they don't want to even call, as if they what does it imply? That they don't want to do that they definitely don't want to do other things, maybe by reaching out in some other way, like email or whatever. But but they especially but on top of that they don't want to call. Whereas if we put даже before не хотят, as it is displayed here, it implies that they don't even have the will to call. So, um, so yeah, it changes. It changes the sentence. It changes the emphasis significantly. So, yeah, the word даже here matters, just as in English, it would matter where we put the word even in the sentence. All right, and now at natural speed. Они даже не хотят звонить мне. Что это за друзья такие? Well, I believe it concludes this video about the attitude expression «Что это за?». I hope you've enjoyed the challenge, and what else? Happy 4th of July. Happy practicing. Good night.